Have you ever thought about how a sacred text, one that's centuries old, gets taught in our world of live streams and social media? It's pretty fascinating. Today, we're going to step inside one of these digital classrooms to see exactly how students from all over the globe are learning to recite the Quran live and online. All right, so here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll check out the classroom itself. Then, we'll see how they deconstruct a single verse. We'll get into the actual science of recitation, the techniques they use for memorization, and finally, how this whole live stream thing builds a real connected community. So first things first, let's set the scene. You gotta understand, we're not talking about a building with 4 walls and desks. No. The only thing you need to get into this classroom is an internet connection. That's it. Which means it is truly, truly global. There's no school bell here. Instead, class kicks off with this beautiful traditional Arabic greeting. The instructor goes live on YouTube or Facebook and starts with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It means peace, mercy, and blessings of God be upon you. And just like that, with that one simple phrase, this global classroom just materializes. Everyone's connected. And that right there is what's so cool about this whole thing. You've got this 7th century text being taught through 21st century tech. It's this amazing mix, right? The scripture's ancient, but the classroom is happening right now. It's live, anyone can join, and people are interacting in real time from literally every corner of the planet. Okay, so how does it all work? How do they actually teach? Well, it all starts with an incredible, almost surgical precision. They take it one single line at a time. So the instructor puts up a verse like this one. Now, the translation gives you the meaning, the historical context, sure. But for the students in this class, that's not the first priority. The real focus, it's on the sound, the pure mechanics of how you pronounce it. Every single word, every single letter is put under a microscope. And here's a perfect example of that insane level of detail. The instructor might zoom in on one word, tarda, and point out a super common mistake. See, there are 2 T sounds in Arabic. There's a heavy T and a light T. To you and me, it might sound almost the same, but it's a huge distinction. And in Quranic recitation, getting that subtle difference right, that's everything. So you might be thinking, wow, that's a lot of focus on just one sound, but it's not random. There's a whole system behind it, a complete science of recitation, really, that's been passed down for centuries. The core belief is that these words should be spoken exactly as they were first revealed. So let's dive into what that system actually is. Okay, so this science has a name, Tajweed. Here's the best way to think about it. If the Quran is the song, then Tajweed is the sheet music. It tells you exactly how to perform it, how to pronounce every letter, how long to hold a vowel, where to put the emphasis. It's the rule book for preserving the original sound. Let's grab a specific rule just to see how deep this goes. There's one called qalqala. Now, this rule is pretty cool. It only applies to 5 specific letters, and it says that if one of those letters is silent in a word, you have to give it a little bounce, like a tiny echo. And here we see it in action. The instructor points out the letter qaf in this word. You see, instead of just stopping the sound flat, yuqbal, he shows them how to add that little bounce, that qalqala echo. It's these tiny, tiny audio details that students are learning to both hear and, more importantly, to reproduce themselves. And listen, that bounce rule, qalqala, that is just scratching the surface. I mean, it's the tip of the iceberg. There are rules for merging sounds together, rules for making sounds more nasal, rules for how long you stretch out a vowel. It is a complete, incredibly detailed phonetic system. Okay, so knowing all the rules is one thing, but actually committing these verses to memory, that's a whole other challenge. So let's look at how they do it, how they build that muscle memory. The method they use is honestly beautiful in its simplicity, and it's super effective. It's all about structured repetition. So the teacher doesn't just read the whole long verse. No way. He breaks it down into these tiny, bite-sized pieces. He'll recite the first chunk over and over until everyone's got it. Then he adds the next chunk, and they repeat the now slightly longer phrase. It's like building with Legos, one piece at a time. And how many times do they repeat it? You'd be surprised. A single short phrase might get repeated 5 times in a row. It creates this constant loop, this auditory pattern that just gets drilled into your brain, making it so much easier to lock it into memory. Now, it's really important to remember this isn't just some video you watch on your own time. The fact that it's live is absolutely key. It changes everything from just passively listening to something to being part of an active, energetic classroom. And to make sure everyone is paying attention, the instructor will just pause. He'll point to a couple of words in the verse and throw a question out to the whole class, everyone watching the stream. Okay, what's the Tajweed rule happening right here? And what happens next is so cool. The live chat just explodes with answers. And the instructor will see them, pick out the right one, like this one, idgham with ghunna, and read it out loud. Then he'll give them some praise, ahsantum, which just means well done. It creates this instant feedback loop, You answer, you get a response. It's so powerful for learning. So when you boil it all down, the toolkit for this classroom is actually pretty simple. It's this perfect mix of old school and new tech. You've got the physical book, the Quran, which they call the mushaf. You've got a pencil for taking notes right there on the page. And then you have the digital part, the live chat. That's the connection to the teacher and to everybody else learning alongside you. So what we're really seeing here is something powerful, right? It's an ancient text meeting modern technology. And the tech isn't replacing the tradition. It's just amplifying it. It's making it available to more people than ever before. And it really makes you think, doesn't it? What other ancient traditions, what other timeless knowledge is going to find a brand new life and build a whole new community in this digital world of ours?